Last week on Wednesday, Representative Ilhan Omar, who is a Democrat from Minnesota, was at a town hall in Washington, D.C. and seemingly brought up Israel. So Representative Omar stated, "I want to talk about the political influence in this country that says it is okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country." Now, after making that statement, of course, a controversy was set off. And of course that was going to happen. So it was look, several weeks ago, actually it's not even a month ago at this point, there was a controversy set off with Representative Omar after she stated that AIPAC was paying politicians to support the state of Israel. So this opposition and this controversy is really no different too. This is claims of anti-Semitism as well. So Representative Eliot Engel demanded an apology from Representative Omar and said her words were, quote, "unacceptable and deeply offensive to call into question the loyalty of fellow American citizens because of their political views, including support for the U.S.-Israel relationship." Representative Nita Lowey said on Twitter, "Gross Islamophobic stereotypes like those about Ilhan Omar recently featured on posters in West Virginia are offensive and have no place in political discourse. Anti-Semitic tropes that accuse Jews of dual loyalty are equally painful and must be roundly condemned." She also added, "Lawmakers must be able to debate without prejudice or bigotry. I am saddened that Representative Omar continues to mischaracterize support for Israel. I urge her to retract this statement and engage in further dialogue with the Jewish community on why these comments are so hurtful." So it didn't stop right there, because after Representative Lowey made those comments, Representative Omar did respond to him in a series of tweets on Twitter. So let's read those off before we get into it. So Representative Omar began to respond by saying, "Our democracy is built on debate, Congresswoman. I should not be expected to have allegiance, pledge support to a foreign country in order to serve my country in Congress or serve on committee. The people of the 5th elected me to serve their interests. I am sure we agree on that." She added, "I have not mischaracterized our relationship with Israel. I have questioned it, and that has been clear from my end. I am told every day that I am anti-American if I am not pro-Israel. I find that to be problematic, and I am not alone. I just happen to be willing to speak up on it and open myself up to attacks." This is at least 3 different times where she has been criticized for being either insensitive to Jews or anti-Semitic or whatever. So in this particular case, do you buy into the criticism?
I really don't buy into the criticism. I don't believe they're good faith arguments. Like I think she could kind of do a better job at being a little more direct and I guess more broad in her position. But I just don't think that most of the people coming against her are making good faith arguments. I think that they're just trying to like shut down any criticism of, you know, United States foreign policy and using anti-Semitism as a guise to do that. You know what I mean?
So I'm gonna try to be fair and balanced here. Okay, so I think I can understand why there are some people that could believe that this rubs them the wrong way and that it could sound like anti-Semitism. Because it sounds like what she's saying, again, is that the state of Israel or Israel lobbyists are forcing Americans or American politicians to support the state of Israel. So that kind of does sound like dual loyalty. That sounds like that kind of narrative. Now, I know that there are
dual loyalty for just Jewish people.
Just for Jewish people.
But that's not what she's suggesting.
No. I'm saying it sounds like
okay.
I'm saying that I can understand how people hear that. So I understand that part of it. Now, we understand that Americans all across this country support the state of Israel for whatever personal reasons that they have. And that includes members of Congress as well. So if they have those personal feelings that they want to support the state of Israel, that's cool. Like, let that be on them. I don't think that her comments rise to the level of, I'll note, noted anti-Semite Robert David Steele, who says that the whole of Congress is bought by Israel, and that the whole of Congress has to sign a pledge of allegiance to the state of Israel, and that they put Israel's interests first over American interests. I don't think you can misconstrue her comments to, to that level, but I could still, again, I could still see why this rubs people the wrong way, because, again, if you note her past comments too that have sparked some controversy, it's like she could have used maybe other language. She could have added language to what she was saying, because of course she was suggesting Israel. She didn't say it, but of course she was talking about Israel. So if you have a problem with Israel in this regard, it's not just about Israel, it's about other countries as well. It could be about Saudi Arabia. It could be about the Philippines. It could be about it could be about many different nations that many people have criticisms of, because there are many nations where they do lobbying right here in the United States of America. So, like I said, she's not a dumb woman. I know that she's smart, and I know that she probably knew that this was going to set off some controversy. So for people that feel like maybe we're not going to give her the benefit of the doubt anymore, I can kind of understand. But I still don't believe that this rose to the level of anti-Semitism. And so I'll explain why now. So I've heard more times than I can count throughout my life that the United States has a strong bond with the state of Israel, that it's an everlasting bond with the state of Israel. And again, if American people feel that bond, like if they want to choose to support Israel and American politicians want to choose to support Israel, cool, let that be that personal decision. What I would bring up to why I have a problem with that narrative is anti-BDS legislation. So the BDS movement is boycott, divest, and sanctions, in which the people that are involved in that movement, they want to put financial, economic pressure on the state of Israel to prompt them to change the way they deal with Palestinians. So this could be on a small scale level. This could be on a large scale level. This could be just somebody making that personal decision not to buy products from Israel. But it could be on a larger scale level too, where people on a collective basis try to get others to support their position as well. So it could be, like I said, it could be small scale, large scale. Either way, though, and it doesn't matter what you feel about BDS either. These are personal decisions. But why this is a problem is because we have American politicians, American members of Congress that have supported anti-BDS legislation. So my question would be, why would those politicians choose to support another country's financial interest over the United States Constitution? Because in supporting anti-BDS legislation, what you are saying is that you are okay with violating the First Amendment to the Constitution. So that's why I have a problem, and that's why I don't feel like Ilhan Omar's comments rang as untrue. It's just, for me, it was an incomplete statement.
Do you think that this whole situation in regard to Omar's comments is worthy of a resolution put forth by the Democratic Party?
No, I do not. And so that gets into another area of concern. And like you just mentioned, the House of Representatives, led by the Democratic Party, on Wednesday, they're planning to vote on a resolution that condemns the, quote, myth of dual loyalty. And it does make mention of the rise in anti-Semitic attacks in the country. It does not specifically call out Representative Ilhan Omar, but no doubt this is a public rebuke of her statements that she just made last week.
And see that's what makes the resolution disingenuous to come out right now. After her comments, seeing as there have been multiple attacks on like synagogues. Right. In the most recent one, there was a large massacre. Right. You would think that they would bring forth a resolution after like an event like that, but they didn't. So it just seems as if they're trying to like put this out there in a way that attaches everything within the resolution to Omar. And if you read that resolution, most of it contains things that Omar is not even guilty of. And that's the thing that I have a problem with.
I can understand that. And who else had a problem with that is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Sometime after, of course, this resolution made the news that it was going to be voted on Wednesday, it was earlier today on Tuesday that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said on Twitter, "One of the things that is hurtful about the extent to which reprimand is sought of Ilhan is that no one seeks this level of reprimand when members make statements about Latinx. In other communities, during the shutdown, a GOP member yelled, 'Go back to Puerto Rico,' on the floor. It's not my position to tell people how to feel or that their hurt is invalid, but incidents like these do beg the question. Where are the resolutions against homophobic statements, for anti-blackness, for xenophobia, for a member saying he'll send Obama home to Kenya?" And for that last one, of course, she's talking about Representative Mark Meadows, who there was recent video that reemerged of him talking in 2012 about sending Obama back to Kenya or wherever that he comes from, or something like that.
His excuse for that was that it was a heated.
It was a campaign season.
Heated campaign season.
He doesn't have a racial bone in his body.
I don't know what the hell a racial bone is.
That was weird, man.
That doesn't make sense, man.
Yeah, but I think her point is valid, because it does seem that the effort to go after Ilhan Omar is far more energized than anything else that we're seeing.
And I do believe probably a week ago, Elizabeth Warren highlighted Israel corruption, but she added other countries.
Right.
She said something like corruption, but the first country she listed right after the word corruption was Israel. She said corruption in Israel or any other country is a cancer to democracy. She said a cancer to democracy. But I have not seen the same level of condemnation towards her.
Again, maybe, look, because that's eerily similar to what we do hear from Ilhan Omar. And like I said before, and just trying to be fair about it, well, first of all, it's because there were other past incidents too. But like I said, I think she does do a little bit, she holds a little bit of the responsibility, a little bit, because again, in this comment, she didn't make a comment like Elizabeth Warren and listed other countries. Everybody that was listening, or everybody that could read that statement, they knew exactly what she was talking about, and that was the state of Israel. So for her just to go after Israel, it's like, okay, why are you just highlighting Israel when this has to do with other countries as well?
And we talked about this before the show, and my response to Will was that because that's what this whole situation was framed around.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I think like the controversy began with her comments about AIPAC, and then it got kind of focused on Israel. So that's what this kind of whole, I guess, situation surrounds. So maybe that's kind of where her I guess, second stanza of comments was directed. You know what I'm saying? So because it was already there.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Because she even elaborated. Remember after the first comment, she elaborated and
yes, she did.
Made it a point that it was about all lobbies. Yeah, all lobbies.
True. Yeah.
So again, I was like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm seeing it as like, I'm not separating the different comments. I'm seeing it as like a whole. I'm seeing it like as a whole, like, you know, quilt of comments. You know what I'm saying? Like a patchwork.
Okay, you're putting them all together.
I'm putting them all together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess taking by each of them by itself, yeah, I think you have a point. If you just take the comments by themselves, and I guess detaching them from all of her previous comments.
Right. And that's all I'm saying too, is like, again, I understand how people could be rubbed the wrong way by what she said. I could understand that. I myself, and it's not for me too. I mean, like if somebody feels that it was offensive or that, you know, it was anti-Semitic, that's on them. And I could, you know, like I said, I'm not there to, you know, call out what your hurt is or if it's valid or not. Just for me, it didn't strike me as anti-Semitic.